Smart people do not believe false things because they are stupid. They believe false things because they are human. Intelligence does not protect you from misbelief. Sometimes it strengthens it. If you think you are too rational to be misled, that confidence is the first vulnerability. Pause. This is not about other people. This is about how your own mind works. You have rejected information before, not because it was false, but because it felt uncomfortable. You have searched for proof that supports what you already believe, not because you are dishonest, but because agreement feels stable. You have dismissed a source, not because it lacked data, but because it threatened your identity. Identity means the internal story you carry about who you are. When a belief attaches to identity, it stops being an opinion. It becomes protection. Now we move to the first mechanism, confirmation bias. Confirmation bias means you favor information that agrees with you. You filter out what does not. Your brain prefers efficiency. Efficiency saves energy. But energy efficiency is not accuracy. If you believe your organization is ethical, you will notice stories that confirm it. You will overlook subtle contradictions. If you believe your political side is rational, you will amplify stories that validate that view. You will minimize stories that do not. This process feels intelligent, but it is selective exposure. Selective exposure means you consume information that protects stability. Stability feels safe. Safety reduces anxiety. Most misinformation spreads not because people are uneducated, but because it reduces emotional discomfort. Now, consider cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance means mental discomfort when facts conflict with belief. Discomfort triggers defense. Defense often looks like reasoning, but it is emotional protection. If you believe you make logical decisions and someone shows you evidence of bias, you will likely explain it away. Not because you lack intelligence, but because you protect self-image. Intelligence increases the sophistication of rationalization. You do not change the belief, you improve the argument. That feels like growth, but it is reinforcement. Now look deeper. Misbelief is rarely built on data first. It is built on emotion first. Fear, uncertainty, anger, loss of control. When the world feels unstable, people search for clarity. Clarity feels like control. Control feels like safety. Even if the clarity is false, it still reduces anxiety. This is why conspiracy narratives often grow during crisis. They offer a simple explanation. Simple explanations reduce ambiguity. Ambiguity increases stress. The human mind prefers a wrong answer over no answer. Now we introduce social identity. Humans are social creatures. Belonging is survival. When a belief is shared by your group, rejecting it risks social friction. Social friction threatens belonging. Belonging regulates emotional security. So the belief becomes a loyalty signal. Disagreeing feels like betrayal. This is why arguments about beliefs escalate quickly. People are not defending facts. They are defending identity and belonging. Now consider media amplification. Digital platforms reward engagement. Emotion drives engagement. Emotionally intense content spreads faster than neutral content. Algorithms detect engagement. They amplify what keeps attention. This creates echo chambers. An echo chamber means repeated exposure to similar viewpoints. Repeated exposure increases perceived truth. Familiarity feels accurate, even when it is not. Traditional media also contributes. Speed often replaces depth. Headlines simplify complexity. Simplification increases clarity. Clarity increases emotional response. Emotional response increases sharing. This cycle reinforces misbelief. Now we shift from explanation to control. How do you resist this process? First, separate identity from belief. A belief is a model, not a personality trait. Models are updated. Identity should not collapse when a model changes. Second, slow down discomfort. When you feel defensive, pause. Name the discomfort. Ask, What exactly feels threatened? Often it is status, or belonging, or self-image. Third, invite disconfirmation. Instead of asking, "How am I right?" ask, "Under what conditions would I be wrong?" This question reduces blind certainty. Fourth, consume opposing views strategically, not to argue, but to map logic structures. Mapping logic reduces emotional intensity. Fifth, practice cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility means the ability to hold two competing ideas without immediate rejection. This is not weakness. It is adaptive intelligence. Now we address a common misconception. Correcting misbelief is not about winning arguments. Direct confrontation often strengthens defense. When someone feels attacked, their nervous system activates protection. Protection reduces openness. Instead, reduce threat. Affirm shared values first, then explore differences. This reduces identity pressure. Changing minds requires psychological safety. Psychological safety means a person does not feel attacked while reconsidering. Without safety, defensiveness increases. Now consider the broader impact. Misbelief affects public health. False beliefs about medicine can increase disease spread. Misbelief affects politics. False narratives reduce trust in institutions. Misbelief affects social cohesion. Groups fragment into isolated belief systems. Trust declines. Trust is social glue. Without trust, cooperation weakens. Economically, misbelief distorts decisions. Investments are made on flawed assumptions. Risk is miscalculated. Collective outcomes suffer. So resilience becomes critical. Resilience against misbelief requires skill. Skill in critical thinking. Critical thinking means evaluating evidence before emotional alignment. Skill in media literacy. Media literacy means identifying manipulation, exaggeration, and emotional framing. Skill in emotional regulation. Emotional regulation means tolerating uncertainty without rushing to certainty. Now, the superiority shift. Most people react. Few people observe. Observation creates distance from impulse. Distance creates choice. Choice creates control. Control creates status. Real intelligence is not defending being right. It is updating when wrong. Real strength is not rigid certainty. It is flexible accuracy. Misbelief is not stupidity. It is attachment. Attachment to identity. Attachment to belonging. Attachment to certainty. When you detach identity from belief, updating becomes easier. When updating becomes easier, growth accelerates. The goal is not to eliminate error. The goal is to reduce blind attachment. You cannot control the information environment fully, but you can control your response to it. Pause before defending. Observe before reacting. Question before concluding. Intelligence is not proven by how strongly you defend a belief. It is proven by how quickly you can revise one. That is the difference between reacting like a system under threat and operating like a system under control. And control is quiet. Control is stable. Control does not need to shout. In a world full of noise, the rare advantage is disciplined thinking. That advantage begins with recognizing that you are not immune. And once you accept that, you are already stronger than before. Complete.